Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever this video finds you, I hope you're having a rad time. I'm the Figure Dude, and on today's Action Figure Showcase, we have part 6 of the Attitude Era. Without further ado, let's talk about some figures. Dude. Welcome back. Like I said, today we are continuing the Attitude Era Showcase with part 6 today, and we are starting off with the Ocho, the Lionheart, the Painmaker, the List, whatever you want to call him, whatever you know him as. We are starting out today with Chris Jericho, and both of these are at least fixed up a little bit. So first off, you can see the custom right there is one of my iconic, most nostalgic attires is that yellow and gray lightning attire for Chris Jericho. I had that Jax figure as a kid. It was one of the first ones I had. It's one of the ones I had just in my collection for the longest time. So it was always a custom I really wanted to make. Just used some Jericho legs, painted the boots, gave him some white soles, and then it's a Stone Cold torso, because they used the Dan O'Brien torso for Jericho, and I thought it was too small. So you can see on the, I think it was at Defining Moments Jericho, still the same legs and everything, but I gave him the larger torso as well. And I don't hate it. I have that Dan O'Brien torso on a couple other figures. I've seen people fix it up with the AJ Styles Ultimate torso, which I've talked about before. I think that's a fantastic torso. I think it fits a lot of guys really well. But two very, for me, just classic looking Jerichos. So the head on my custom is from the Jax R3 Tech figure. So I had to modify it a little bit, but there's so many different looks you could give for Jericho. You could give him the same attire with a different head sculpt and it'd be a completely different time frame. Just a lot you could do. Who knows if he's ever going to be back with WWE, but I would love to get a bunch more Jerichos. The Defining Moments figure, if you're unaware, you're probably not, haven't watched wrestling with Chris Jericho. That's from when he won both titles, beat Stone Cold and The Rock in the same night. From, I think it was Vengeance, is it 2001? 2001? Can't remember. So one of the coolest for me pay-per-views of all time. They unified all the belts. And then obviously they had their mini tournament for Jericho to win the Undisputed Championship. But that's how we're starting off today's showcase. We really are very, invasion kind of heavy today. So I'm excited because we've got a lot of customs in here. Next up, we have two Alliance members. We have DDP as well as Canyon. And I do have the Alliance MVP shirt on Canyon. But the attire that he should be wearing should be the maroon tights that he had. I think this actual attire is from WCW, when he was actually in WCW, not just in the Invasion. I got this figure in a Secret Santa exchange. It was a bunch of us on Instagram, a bunch of guys that customize. We all picked out some names for figures we would like, and then you just randomly selected who your person was, and the person that got me chose Canyon from my list. So I've got could float in between either WCW or the Invasion, but I wanted Canyon. I'm gonna make a Mortis pretty soon here. It figures 89 has a fantastic looking Mortis as well as Glacier on his Instagram page, so I'll take some inspiration from him. His look fantastic. But then DDP here, obviously we've gotten this one twice. This is the first one they released, which I think was it the Legends line? Yeah, I think it was in the Legends line, and then we got him in the Greatest Hits. That's what it was. Which the head sculpt I think is 10 out of 10. I think it's fantastic. They put a little port on the right ear so he could put his earpiece in there because he was doing a motivational speaking gimmick. The vest I think looks great. I think everything about it is awesome except the height. I think he's way short. I don't know if my Canyon is perfectly scaled. Canyon was a tall dude. But I feel like the DDP is like the first thing I thought when I got it was that he was too short. I'm pretty sure compared to his WCW figure, the height difference is pretty noticeable. But, I don't know. It's too much for me to like put bigger pants on him, because then I got to completely redo the decals. And I think that the pants look good. It's a little on the short side. So, try to fudge that a little bit on the shelf, but overall, just a fantastic DDP figure. And then obviously I'm happy with my own custom Canyon. Next up, we have half of the Radicals. We've got Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko. And before anyone in the comment section lets me know, I know that this head on Dean Malenko is too big. I think I got it in a lot, and I figured, what the heck, I have it, I might as well use it. So I use the rest of the body, is pretty much the same formula as the Dean Malenko Elite that we got. The thing is, he's in the tan skin tone. I didn't like that they used the pale skin tone for him around the first time. And then we also got the head sculpt. I think is good, but I think that head is too tiny. It's like a pinhead. So, obviously this one is honking. It's from the Jakks Classic Superstars. Even on the Jakks Classic body, it looks way too big. So, it is what it is. When I put the vest on him, it hides that a little bit, but it's whatever. Until I get another head sculpt where I can throw on this Dean Malenko, it works for me. I like the shadow. I like the actual head sculpt. I think is great. It's just the size. The Eddie here is also a Jakks head. It's the Titantron Live, or maybe like Finishing Moves Eddie Guerrero, decals from Curb Stomp. But this is one era that we don't really have represented, like with this hair. When they first like came over as the Radicals, we got the Latino Heat Eddie, where he was with China, and that looks a little bit different, like his hair's longer there. So I wanted that Eddie. This was kind of like he was wearing his honking elbow brace at this point. The Radicals, it was pretty crazy to see them in WWE, but it's an Eddie Guerrero figure. Change the boots. I think those are Alberto Del Rio boots. And then Dean Malenko here. Tommaso Ciampa thighs, Chad Gable lowers, and then a Road Dogg torso, and then can't remember whose arms. Shawn Michaels' arms without the tattoo on them. So there's that half. Let's get to the other half of the Radicals. Next up, we have Perry Saturn and Chris Benoit. Like I said, the other half. I don't know what's going on with that Benoit head. There's like sculpting clay or something stuck to it. You'll see it when it comes around here. I don't know. I need to fix that. But both of these guys, I use Jakks heads. Now that I'm looking at it, I need to modify that Perry Saturn head a little bit more, get it to sit lower. But the Perry Saturn is one of my favorite figures, favorite customs that I've done. I always wanted a Perry Saturn figure. His Jakks figures were fine. Obviously, I said I took this head sculpt from Jakks. I think it's a great head sculpt. The paint application on it is a little goofy looking, but I think everything with Perry Saturn is a little goofy looking. Got all his tattoos on there. It's a Bobby Roode body. I know someone we had talked about in the comments about his height, and like I said, I think it's a little tall here. Bobby Roode I think he said Bobby Roode's like 6'1" or something, and Perry Saturn was 5'10", 5'11", so a little tall here. I'll fix that head. The attire is just kind of one that I think of with him. And, you know, we had some, like, he wore a lot of different colors. There's a lot of different versions of Perry Saturn we can make. But this is just like the most classic, like iconic kind of look for me. The Benoit, I can't remember. The legs might have been, no, nothing is coming to me. I cannot think. Maybe they were an Elite Eddie Guerrero. I think they're the same legs as that Eddie custom. And then the torso Stone Cold arms are from a Stone Cold, the WrestleMania basic. So he's got the like pinless bicep. I had to acetone off black on the biceps. I think that's it. Don't remember exactly, but really the formula wise, they were pretty simple. It's just a matter of putting a lot of work in, modding heads, tattoos, everything. But there we go. There's the other half of the Radicals. Next up here, I think a couple of underrated elites. We've got Stephanie McMahon, and then we have the Shane McMahon ringside exclusive King of the Ring figure. And this is, I think, the best Shane McMahon they've done. It's from when he got thrown through the glass by Kurt Angle twice, technically 4 times, because it didn't break, I'm pretty sure, for both of them. But if you have, that's a match, you should go back. It's nuts. Absolutely nuts. Anyway, the Shane McMahon, I think that his formula is good. This is like the only figure I think we have of him where the pants aren't just black, which is what, like, he wore normally, but this one's got the blue pants. I know they use the jogger mold, but he did wear, like, normal pants, so I think, like, maybe the DDP pants might work for that longer pants look. I don't know. I'll try it out someday when I get around to it, when I have no other custom to get to, so who knows when that'll be. But anyway, the Shane McMahon sculpt, that younger Shane sculpt, I think looks really good. Different than obviously the older sculpt they used for him. And then the Stephanie McMahon, I still see it in my Walmarts, honestly. It's from the Stephanie McMahon Helmsley era when her and Triple H were heels. I can't remember what set it was, but I know I've seen it at a couple of my Walmarts recently with some of the pickups I've had, that figure's just sitting there on the shelves. And it is kind of a small, like, deep cut as far as, like, Stephanie McMahon goes. Unless you're a big Attitude Era person, I don't really know why you'd pick it up, why you'd need a young Stephanie McMahon. But for me, 2 very big pieces of the Attitude Era, and I'm glad I have them. Next up, we have a couple Triple H figures, and I'm pretty sure the one with the Iron Cross is his original Defining Moments figure. I picked it up at my local comic shop pretty cheap, and this is what I think the most recent Legend would have been this attire. We got the same attire as this, Ultimate Edition. Like, same exact attire. They gave him pretty much the same accessories. I don't know why they did. I didn't pick it up because it was the exact same thing, only it was an Elite. And I think that this Ultimate Edition is awesome. I think that the torso fits him better than the one on this Elite right here for that time period. The head sculpt, so the head sculpt on both of these are from that Ultimate Edition. I think that I put on the knee brace. I think that I fixed up the legs. So I put on the leg with the tape, I'm pretty sure. And then the knee brace and everything, like, I tried to make it, really just different. I like to fix it up like that and make it look more specific to a certain moment. But like the chainmail that comes with him is awesome. The Iron Cross Triple H, I had him posed with the undisputed champion, or not, when he won both belts at WrestleMania, had both belts on him, but he kept falling over, so I had to balance him a little better. The ankles are a little loose, but obviously Triple H, once he started wearing the black tights, didn't really change him up that much. He did in the Ruthless Aggression era, had like some colored ones, but the black and logo trunks are pretty par for the course for Triple H, but I think they look great. I think their formula is down for him. So, really, I think we'll get a Iron Cross look with him before too long. I have to think maybe another Ultimate Edition. But if we don't, I suggest grabbing this Ultimate Edition we got. I think it's an awesome figure. Really, besides it being pinless and the torso, I don't even know if they ever use this specific torso again, because it is like a little clunky looking, just how it transitions from the top to the bottom. But I have them posed obviously with the chainmail. I think it's an awesome figure. I would suggest going and picking it up. Next up, if you saw my review, I picked up the 2-man Power Trip 2-pack. And here is kind of the street clothes and the ring gear. So, another thing with that recent Legends figure is that it was basically this exact Elite with the silver logo instead of the silver and gold. So, I don't know, a weird choice, I thought, but we've got the promo attire. Triple H and Stone Cold had a big promo as the 2-man Power Trip. And I think that's exactly where this attire's taken from. Another Ultimate Edition head. I think that Ultimate Edition Triple H is fantastic. I think it's one of the best, that they have done. Just my opinion. I would like to see it re-released. I could go for that in the greatest hits with butterfly joints and an updated Ultimate torso, but, my Triple H here is the SmackDown one we got. It gave him the black leg sleeve. Just again, like I like to fix it up to make it as accurate as possible there. I have him pose with both belts like he had in the 2-man power trip, but that's just half. We gotta get Stone Cold. Here's the other half of the 2-man power trip. If you watch my review, I talked about how I was gonna switch the heads on these, see if they'd be a little more even, and it helped a little bit, I think. The 2-pack figure is pretty short. You can see just like where their shoulder height is. That Stone Cold's a bit shorter. The Ultimate Edition heads sit a little bit higher. So I had to just fudge it a little bit. On the shelf, it doesn't really matter. I think it's an awesome basic though. It's got, they gave him the knee pads, the articulation. I talked about it in my review. It's a lot better. But I like to have the street attire and the ring attire for these guys. So, cool 2-pack. The Stone Cold, I don't remember I think it was a basic that these knee braces came with and the vest. I don't remember. I could not think of where or what line that came in, but anyway, there's Stone Cold. Got a few more to get to today. Next up, we've got a couple of Kurt Angles, and both of these, fixed up a tiny bit. So the Ultimate Edition Kurt Angle is a figure I still haven't really made a firm choice on how I feel about it. I think that it's cool that it's got a cloth singlet. I think the torso's too big. I think the head sculpts were all right. But what I ended up doing with mine to really maximize what I thought I could do with the figure was have the straps down, and then I gave him the yelling scan from the Milkomania Kurt Angle, and I really like how that looks. That's how I have it posed on the shelf. And then the other one here is one of the Ultimate Edition heads, just like a straight face, kind of like a weird smirk, but still a straight face Kurt. And then there's the attire from Armageddon 2001. I get them both mixed up, but he fought in a 6-man Hell in a Cell, and that match again, they did it one time since, and it was in like a dark match, on Raw, but they did that. I thought it was awesome as a kid. I feel like, critically, it got panned a little bit for just how chaotic it was, but I thought it was awesome. I wanted to have that attire. I wanted to have like WWF champion singles Kurt. So, there he is. We have a couple more customs to get out of here before we go. And lastly, today we have a couple of customs, and you can't have the Invasion era without William Regal. I hated him as a kid, and then going back when I was a little older, watching it, he's hysterical. William Regal's fantastic. He definitely gets his flowers now. A lot of people really appreciate him for what he did in NXT. Even in AEW as well, but I made my William Regal, just repainted an elite of him. I did give him different boots. I think his elite from his WCW elite, which I'm surprised we got still, came with maroon boots, and I just swapped out those, and I think these are some elite Bray Wyatt or elite Fiend boots, I'm pretty sure. And then just painted some black on the tights, obviously, with a Jack's head. Let's see. Lamp Storm here was Chris Jericho lowers. Pretty much the same formula as Jericho. Stone Cold arms, Stone Cold torso, Daniel Bryan arms, and then just some decals from his, Invasion, or that WWE run. And then the head sculpt is from House 14. It is a misprint, so is a little messed up on the left side of the face, but I think his Lance Storm sculpt is awesome. I have a few of them in my collection, actually. But William Regal, like I said, he was such a big, not a main event character, but he was so prominent in the Invasion that I couldn't not have him. I should throw the European Championship on him, but do that sometime. But that is going to be everything for part 6 today. We've got plenty of more customs. We've got a couple more of just WWE for the Monday Night Wars kind of Attitude Era. And then we got to get to ECW and WCW as well. So plenty more to come. Let me know if there's some other showcases you'd like to see. We could throw those in here as we go. But like I said, if you like what we're doing, go check out the rest of the channel. Go check out the rest of the Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression, whatever you want to check out on the channel. I appreciate it. Please continue to like, share, subscribe, and remember, you can't buy happiness, but you can buy more action figures. Figure Dude out.